And what happens if everybody comes in at the same time? They won't do that if there's a full course caution because we split the classes. But there is a potential for green flag stops to have some GTD Pros and some GTPs in at the same time, Shay. So what have we got at the end of the pit lane? Do we have a traffic light system? How does it work? What's the etiquette?
Yes, we do. We have a pit closed light system. That's no different from any other week. But the priority goes to the cars on the right-hand side of the pit lane. So in other words, if a prototype is slightly ahead, they get the right of way if they are dead equal. So it is a slight advantage to the cars in the top category, but it's also something that you would assume would need to be in place, because if they come out line astern out of this very, very tight pit exit, too tight in fact to park a short bed pickup truck sideways, which was attempted earlier in the week, it results in the prototypes then being stuck behind the GT car through turns 1 and 2 before getting on that long backstretch.
Yeah, that's a good point. Start and finish lines are not in the same place as the pits here, Jeremy. We expect people to peel off and go through the stripe whilst they're in the pit lane. That doesn't quite happen here. This is really a one-off.
Yeah, true that. Like at Mid-Ohio, the start line is on the back straightaway, halfway down that, which is been about a mile in length. That first that main straight with 3/4 of a mile length, in any case more than that. And the start-finish line, however, is just by the pit lane as well, opposite the pits. So different there, but you know, it's going to be fun. I mean, I'm excited about this. I think it's going to be really interesting. The strategy is going to be very, very cool. The GTP cars, they can do well over an hour on a tank of fuel here. So I think it's going to be interesting to see who decides to come in at the very earliest opportunity, and by doing so, are they going to leave themselves more fuel save for the later stages of the race? Fascinating options out there for the teams.
We'll be looking to an award a team from either of the classes, the BD or No Strategy Award, the team that we think by their strategic thinking has improved their position. Doesn't necessarily have to mean that they've won their classes. However, it's basically what they've done that has improved their potential, and certainly tyres has been a big talking point. This is a track that is particularly hard on tyres. There is no mandatory pit stop for tyres. It's not even 2 full tanks of VP Racing fuel. We talked about this in our Michelin Countdown to Green, our Porsche keys to the race. I suspect, Shay, and you've been mingling with the drivers this week, and there's been plenty of things going on in Motor City. Of course there have, particularly with the Blue Oval drivers. I suspect the patience aspect is going to be more important than perhaps even the pace this weekend. Of course we expect people to have pace, but it's the risk versus reward calculations that have been made in tenths of seconds by the drivers in both classes that might well play out today.
And the most important thing, how sharp are the elbows of your finishing driver, because that is going to be a giant factor, particularly for a lot of the teams that didn't qualify as well as they hoped. Do you take the chance of going for that BDO No Strategy Award by doing something completely different, getting yourself into a better position, and then saying to your second driver, just hold on, buddy, we can do this?
The cars are rolling on their formation lap here and on the streets of Detroit. We are getting ready for the second 100-minute race of the season. It will be a split start, so the 10 prototypes will kick things off at the front of the field behind the blue and white Chevrolet Corvette. And then we'll have the GT cars. Jeremy Shaw, a quick note on strategy, and we'll be looking carefully at this. Just because it's a short race doesn't mean that strategy is not being considered.
No, in fact, even more critical than most races in actual fact, because it is so short. Now look, this is the first time, I think, that I can remember in IMSA that we've had only 2 pro classes that are on track, and the minimum drive time for the pro classes is whatever it is, 5 or 10 minutes, whatever it is. It's minimum.
10 minutes.
10.
And which is irrelevant basically, because of the way the things fall. But what we can do here for drivers, I talked about it earlier on. The driver change is the longest thing that needs to happen out there. So if, for example, the number 31 team, which is starting at the back of the class, and the number 1, the champion team from last year in the GTD, moving up to GTD Pro this season, if they decide to come in early, get their driver change done after the 10 minutes, then when they come around for it would be the second stop, because there wouldn't be enough fuel to get to the end. But if there's a full course caution, that could really play into their favour, because they've already got their driver change, which is the longest aspect of the pit stop, out of the way. So as I say, lots of strategic options available to all of the teams today.
Waiting for the GT cars to pack up and get in their 2x2 formation. 21 cars. This doesn't look like the split start that I was expecting. The green flag has not flown. We are under, oh yes it has, full course yellow I was going to say, but it's a ragged start from the GTD Pro cars, with the 2 Corvettes leading them down, and already the Porsche in the outside of the front row has been mugged, and Dane Cameron has lost a couple of places. Once again, did we see somebody changing lanes in the GTD? That's not allowed before the start. Nick Tandy from pole position had his teammate Dave Cameron alongside him for Porsche Penske Motorsport, and there's some bumping and barging, some hip and shoulder going on further down. It's Nick Tandy that leads through the tighter parts of the circuit to turns 5, 6 and 7, come to the action area at turn 8 down the inside. Here comes Sebastian Bourdais and makes the pass on Dane Cameron, who's had an awful start. He has been pushed back down through the field. We've got Nick Tandy, who is clearing off into the distance and pulled down 2.5 seconds. Meantime, in GTD Pro, Tommy Milner has got now Vassar Sullivan's Jack Hawksworth for company. So the pole sitter has done his job, but where's the second of the Corvette? Answer, Antonio Garcia's in the pit lane. The pole sitter is in the pit lane.
Johnson
That's down, and we've also got a Ford Mustang that's got problem as well. Full course yellow. We'll sort it all out in a moment. Raced by Nick Tandy, he will be absolutely unbelievably disappointed, as will Harry Tinknell, who did not come through at the end of the first lap. He is shaking his head ruefully behind the wheel of his Ford Mustang. Well, at the front of the field, it was all action, a very untidy start at the GT end of things. And Dane Cameron really didn't get the run that he wanted. Sebastian Bourdais down the inside, round the outside. Philippe Albuquerque in the black and blue Wayne Taylor Racing Acura. And then there was all kinds of bumping and boring going on behind. Think we're lucky not to have lost more cars there, Jeremy, because there was a big move across by Jordan Taylor, who drove directly into the side of the BMW that was alongside him at the front of the field.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was pretty intense, didn't it? I mean, the big losers there, not only Dane Cameron, but also the number 40 car, Jordan Taylor, too. He got muscled back by just about everybody. But a great opportunist move there at the first corner by Philippe Albuquerque, up into second position there. It's a brilliant start for him. And Philippe Ang, well, he was taking no prisoners in the number 24 car, nor was Nick Yellerly in number 25. So fascinating start there. And what a shame for the Ford. Did it not even get to the start of the race then, even the green flag?
No, he did.
I would say that is correct, yes, because I'm scrolling down. It looks like the car's going onto a tow rope for Harry Tinknell. What a disaster. They've been working so hard, doing some extra testing for this race and before going to Le Mans, and they have made some changes to that car on the homologation side of things, to the trunk lid, the boot lid and the under tray at the back. This is absolute disaster for the 64 team.
It's heartbreak for Ford, and also heartbreak for Corvette, because for the Corvette with Pratt & Miller Motorsports, an alternator failure on the number 3. So that's what they've gone to work to try and change. It's not the first time that we had an alternator issue with Corvette, but it is devastating that it happened to our pole-sitting car and right off the start of this one.
Shea Adam, pit lane reporter, the Pratt Miller Motorsports guys going to work. Alternator problems for the pole sitter. That is absolute nightmare. It's right at the back of the car as well, and they've already got the spanners out for that one, and they have already lost the lead lap after a fabulous qualifying performance by both the 3 and the 4 cars. This is an afternoon that I'm afraid, Jeremy, is going from bad to worse.
Yeah, what a shame for Antonio Garcia. I mean, just a brilliant job in qualifying. 2 Corvettes, clearly the class of the field. They were half a second clear of everybody in that first session. For a while this morning, they were 3/4 of a second faster than everybody else. So they haven't everybody covered all weekend long. So that just makes it even more frustrating for Antonio Garcia. Still looking for this car's first win in IMSA competition. The new Z03 Corvette did get its first win in SRO a couple of weeks ago at Circuit of the Americas, but this is the primary focus for the Pratt Miller Corvette team, and disappointment there for that car. The good news is, of course, number 4 is still out front, but there are going to be some crossed fingers in the number 4 camp as well, I am sure.
Shea Adam, our CrowdStrike pit lane reporter, with the news of that alternator failure. And the problem is with that is that, as Shea mentioned, we've had that before on other Corvettes. Not the privacy cars aren't here, of course, because it is only the pro classes that are here this weekend. It has not been an easy development and birth for either the Corvette or the Ford, to be honest, and they have a stern test coming up in the next few weeks as they head across the Atlantic for the big one. Various racers making various claims last month about racing and how good they are. Le Mans last year with a phenomenal crowd for 100, and more than 100,000 more than they normally get, and it's going to be busy again this year. And Le Mans are quite simple about it. They just say it's the best motor race in the world. Simple as that. Back to grey flag racing, and a good jump again by Nick Tandy. Pulled 2.5 seconds out at the first start and has managed to get another good jump away from Philippe Albuquerque in second, Sebastian Bourdais in third. Dane Cameron, whose head must be spinning, started on the front row, but he's settled in there now. He's got Philip Eng behind him in the number 24 BMW Team RLL. Teammate Nick Yellerly from Philip Eng is behind him, so 24 and 25 in 5th and 6th position. The 2 BMW coloured cars will have the art car at Le Mans, of course. Looks stunning. Pictures do not do that car's justice. I was fortunate enough to see that car being launched in Paris a week or so ago. Tandy across the line then. 100 minutes on the clock when we started. We're down to 92 to go now. And here is the news of some penalties. We thought we saw something in the GTD Pro start, Shea Adam, and that has indeed come to pass, and this is a serial offender now.
This is a problem for the 24 BMW, so the GTP car. Philip Eng starting it, changing lanes prior to the start line. That is a no-no. I thought I perhaps saw a Lexus changing lanes way further back, but it was a very messy start. But yes, Philip Eng will need to make a drive-through, so he will drop out of the 5th place.
Well, it's early. It might not be the end of the intervention from safety car, so there's an opportunity to get past the drive-through here. It's not a disaster, but it's certainly not going to help that BMW. Still in the pit lane, the pole-sitting GTD Pro car, Antonio Garcia, has dropped all the way to the back of the class. As through goes Tandy, resets the race lap record, because it's the first time that these cars have been here under race conditions. 107.8, qualified down in the 5s. So as the VP fuel burns off, the cars will get quicker. Right, Jeremy, we've got to start. We've had a couple of laps under our belt under green. What do these drivers need to be doing now? Dane Cameron looks like he wants to move forward and get some of those positions back. He lost it as he jinxed to the right-hand side. That'll be the outside into the hairpin at the end of the long back straight. You can't afford to wait around too long here. We talked about patience earlier on, but this is a balancing act, and it's a fine balancing act at that.
Yeah, with no room for error here whatsoever, because you're going to be in the wall. So I mean, but Nick Tandy, he's checked out in the front of the field. Green, 2 laps after the green, 2.6 seconds was the gap, or 2.1 seconds I think it was, between first and second after 2 laps. So he has absolutely got the hammer down. 107.8. That's a pretty good lap time early stage. We see number 24 BMW coming in to serve its penalty. So out of 5th position then for Philip Egg in car number 24.
Through the right-hand side of the pit lane, past the blue and white Corvette safety car, and gets back in just ahead of, actually not quite a way ahead of the leading GTD Pro car of Tommy Milner. So he's still on the back of the train, at the back of the 10 GTP cars. In 9th place is the number 31 of Pipo Derani. So Pipo has not made up any positions yet. He's failed to get past Timon van der Helm in the JDC Miller Motorsports Porsche, the bright yellow 85 car. Ben Fiscal for Proton Competition. That car is the number 5 in the white and red colourway, and that car is the next one ahead. In 6th position, it's Jordan Taylor for Wayne Taylor Racing in the red black number 40. In 5th, BMW team RLL's Nick Yellerly. 4th, Dane Cameron started on the front row, trying to fight his way back. He's right on the tailpipes of Sebastian Bourdais. In 3rd, then it's Philip Albuquerque, 2.5 seconds ahead of the whole field is Nick Tandy. And Pipo Derani, as we go through the VP Racing in race update, is in because Shea Adam 10 minutes has been met. This might be their pit stop. This might be it. They can't go an hour and a half, so they're going to put people back in at the end, Shea.
Correct, and also into the pit lane, I think that's the 15 Vassar Sullivan Lexus, and in also Joey handing over to Dirk Mueller for the 65 Ford Mustang. Now, none of the cars can go to the end from this point without a whole lot of yellow, basically the rest of the race running under yellow, as Jeremy rightly said earlier, but this has been a slower driver change from Joey to Dirk. Now that's complete, and now Dirk rumbles off for the rest of this race.
The Fords, Jeremy, wearing a very, very cool tribute livery, which we've seen for a couple of races now. Absolutely stunning, and a great story behind it.
Yeah, just celebrating the 60 years of the Ford Mustang, and the it's called the Spirit Award, isn't it? Of the Ford Mustang all the way through the years. There's been a rich racing history, of course, for the Mustangs, and that's reflected in the colour scheme on these cars. All the different iconic colour schemes of Mustangs over the years. If you remember back in the Trans Am days with George Follmer and Parnelli Jones, they were bright, they were orange, very orange, and you see that on the front fender of the car. We see the other Trans Am and GTO cars that are being featured in that colour scheme as well. They're really stunning cars, and we saw that car make its debut in those colours at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca a couple of weeks ago, and this will be the final time we're going to see it, but I think they look stunning.
In the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre is Jeremy Shaw, Shea Adam, and me, John Hangrove. Hello. We've got just under 90 minutes still to go of this race. Pit stops will play a part. Tyre management will play a part. I'm not going to hark back to what we saw on the streets of Monaco last weekend, but there is going to be elements here of people deciding what they're going to do. They will have to make pit stops for fuel. That's one thing that we absolutely know. So we don't have to worry about people driving 3 and 4 and 5 seconds off the pace here. Quite the reverse. Now there will be people with their foot down at the moment, knowing that they've got to come in to the pit lane to change drivers, possibly get a couple of Michelin tyres on the working side of the car. Working side of the car here is undoubtedly the right hand side of the car. It is an anti-clockwise and counter-clockwise track, so you are mostly turning left. That means you are mostly putting the energy of the car and the weight of the car onto the right hand side tyres. That's all to play out, and we're keeping a look at that for our BDO Nose Strategy Award later on. Meantime, in the pit lane, our pole sitter Shea Adam has this CrowdStrike pit lane report. and there's no change basically, Shane.
Nope, still 3 crew guys working in the back of the Corvette trying to change out the alternator. This is basically a points salvage effort at this stage of the race because they're hoping they can get back out and that other cars ultimately don't finish the race. What heartbreak for Alexander Sims and Antonio Garcia.
So happy yesterday in claiming pole position and locking out the front row for the bright yellow Corvettes on home ground. You can throw a wheel nut from where they are now to GM Global Headquarters. The man of the moment, the man of the hour, cometh the man, and that is Nick Tandy. 106.089 is the new race lap record, reset again by the Englishman, and Nick Tandy at the moment, Jeremy Shaw, is putting on an absolute class, a masterclass of driving on the streets here at Detroit.
He certainly is. Last time around, a new lap record, 106.089 for Nick Tandy. His pole time was a 5.3, so within 3/4 of a second of the fastest time qualifying yesterday. I think that's a factor as much of anything else. There's more rubber having been laid down than was the case yesterday. Just a 2-day race meeting, of course. So yesterday was the first time we've seen race cars laying rubber down onto this pavement here, which is a mixture of concrete and asphalt. And so the track is definitely ramping up. It's getting faster, and that is why we're seeing such stunning lap times, but really only from this guy, because he's now got more than 4 seconds in hand over the rest of the field, with Philippe Albuquerque bottling up, I think, Sebastian Bourdais. Actually, he's a second half ahead of Bourdais.
He's got a second
position. Yeah.
Nick Yellerly closing in on Dane Cameron for 4th and 5th. Yellerly in the BMW number 25 doing his fastest lap the last time around. Now, when Porsche won at Long Beach, Nick finished the race, didn't he? And he drove superbly well in the closing stages of the race to keep a marauding pack of prototypes behind him. He's setting out his stall now, 4 seconds ahead of Philippe Albuquerque, and another 1.2 seconds between Albuquerque and Sebastian Bourdais, 1.3 between Bourdais and Dane Cameron, half a second between Dane Cameron and the number 7 Porsche Penske Motorsport Porsche 963, the BMW M Hybrid V8 of Nick Yellerly. That's your top 5. In GTD Pro, Tommy Milner's just put the fastest GTD Pro lap of the race in. That's a lap record as well, of course, 109.877. He's pulled down nearly 2 seconds now on Hawksworth. They've had a really good start at the first green flag, and he's managed to hold on to that in the Lexus RCF GT3, the number 14 car. Sebring with the number 77 AO Racing Porsche has pulled himself up to 3rd. Daniel Surra in 4th position for Conquest and the Ferrari, the Singleton Ferrari here this weekend. And in 5th position, it's Ross Gunn for Hartner Racing. That's your VP Racing in-race update from the streets of Detroit. And the lappery has well started. Even the back of the field now in GTP. Jack Aitken already having taken a first stop. Remember, Pipo Derani started the race. He's got out. Jack Aitken's in. He's in 15th position. He's just coming by some of the GTD Pro field. He's just gone by Sebring, so he's up to the first couple of cars now as he is trying in that red and black wheel and number 31 car to play some different strategy. They had to do this. They were at the back of the field at the very second that the 10-minute marker was up, when Pipo Derani had done his full time. They've rolled the dice. I'm not saying people won't get in, but they have to. So what they've done is they've gone on a very different strategic route here, Jeremy, because they were at the back of the 10-car field. And now what they're trying to do is basically play the odds, because right now they're not going to get back very easily unless there's more intervention from the safety car, and at that point they can potentially make some more strategic calls.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what's on lap times Jack Aitken could do, and he's having to work his way through, of course, the GT traffic, so that's going to cost him some time. It'll be a little while before the leaders, the GTP leaders, have to do that same lappery, but he's going to have to put his head down now and really charge as hard as he can. He's coming up now behind the number 4 Corvette that leads the GT field. So once he's got past that car, he'll have a clear sailing, and he should be able to do this on the short straight here. Yeah, he goes up along, so that's into turn 1 then to complete his 15th lap.
At IMSA Radio, if you want to get in touch, Robert Melvin missed the start because he got his barbecue timings all wrong. Robert, you're not going to get the BD or No Strategy Award today, I'm afraid. Dear me. He said, I guess there was a full course yellow from the live feed. Yes, there was. Antonio Garcia into the pits. Harry Tinknell in the 64 Ford Mustang had to be recovered. Still haven't had a word from the 14 about what has occurred on that car. Shea, our CrowdStrike, the pit lane reporter, is on that at the moment. And also hello to Tilly, loving Rexy's gold tooth. Let's hope he gets some more. That was for the victory, of course. At IMSA Radio, if you want to get in touch. Dane Cameron still sitting in 4th position after an uncharacteristically tardy start at the original green flag. Sits in 4th position. He's looking at the back of Sebastian Bourdais' car, round about a second, 1.5 seconds ahead. He's under extreme pressure now from Nick Yellerly, Jeremy, who has been sitting at half a second and is now only 0.3 of a second behind, having done another fast lap last time around in the 25 BMW to try and close on the number 7 car. That's the car with the black pinstripes for Porsche.
Indeed so, and the other BMW, by the way, that had to serve that penalty a little while ago, has just been in the pits again. That's car number 24. Oh, there he is running wide there. He outbraked himself at turn 3. Was that his out lap? Yeah, he just got in,
yes.
Possibly.
in a bit too hot there. So they presume they made the driver change there. Jesse Krohn is the wheel of that car. Just got in a bit hot at the end of the back straight. So they've made their driver change. And if there's some yellow, they could probably get to the end from here. So that is going to be interesting to see now who covers off that strategy.
IMSA Radio bringing you full live commentary from the Detroit Chevrolet Sports Car Classic. It's the latest round of the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. We change gears and change surroundings again next week for the Michelin Pilot Challenge on parade as the top of the bill with their second 4-hour race of the season. Back to Mid-Ohio. The supporting cast is pretty decent as well, with Wheeler Master MX-5, our first round of the Mustang Challenge, and we'll have a bit of Porsche racing as well, although not from Mid-Ohio. We'll squeeze that in there with Formula One up in Canada. So once again, splitting ourselves between several different venues. And by the way, you can also on the Sunday follow all of the action from the Circuit de la Sarre. Plenty of the drivers that are here today, 19 drivers, are heading to France for Le Mans Test Day, and the only live coverage you've got is over on our sister service. That is on RS1 next weekend. So plenty of sports car action for you when we finish this race. May I just recommend that you drop in to the Sound and Vision coverage of the Nürburgring 24 hours, where it's raining at the moment. We haven't got that problem here on the streets of the Nürburgring. And we're down to 1 hour and 16 minutes remaining. Tommy Milner at the head of GTD Pro from Jack Hawksworth and Sebring, BMW versus Lexus versus, Chevrolet Corvette versus Lexus versus Porsche. And in 4th place it's Ferrari, 5th place Heart of Racing, 6th place Pfaff Motorsport Marvin Kerschoffer in the number 9 Pfaff McLaren GT3. 6 different manufacturers in the top 6 in GTD Pro. Exactly the kind of variety we like, Jeremy.
Yeah, indeed so, and interesting to see that several of the contenders in GTD Pro have already made their pit stops now.
In the wall, the Conquest Ferrari, and that is once again at the bottom of Franklin at the first gear. Left-hand hairpin at turn 3. Daniel Serra makes a mistake. Write that one in your diary, Shea Adam. I haven't said that very many times over my commentary career.
Did he make a mistake or did he get some outside assistance? Because, it was help from Nick Tandy, our leader, got right in the back of the Ferrari and nudged him around. I'm very curious to see race control's view on that.
That's a drive-through all day.
Yeah.
That's a drive-through all day, and that 2.5 second the gap that Nick Tandy's made up, that's a misjudgment. There's no malice involved there, but that's not what we're judging here, Jeremy. That is the definition of avoidable contact.
Yes, it absolutely is, and there's number 77 car taking the opportunity to come onto pit lane in case there was a full course caution, perhaps. So this is a fascinating race, as I thought it was going to be. I think Nick Tandy, he didn't do that on purpose. He just he just found the closing speed too much. I mean, as I said before, they're doing 180 miles an hour. The GTP cars on that fastest part of the race course, down to just 30 for the hairpin. The GT cars, they're doing about 160 heading into that braking zone. So a big closing speed there for the Porsche over the Ferrari, and I'd be astonished if that isn't a full course caution. Because, a drive-through penalty, not a full course caution, a drive-through penalty for car number 6. The gap, by the way, had gone out to not far short of 5 seconds between first and second. Then it was called back to 1.6 seconds, and now Nick Tandy is trying to expand that lead again.
Tandy still leads. He must know there's something coming. He's got some damage, actually, some quite noticeable damage to the right front of that car. The EO Porsche, the 77, you heard Jeremy call that car's number. That's been in. Sebastian Prix is out of that car. Lauren Heinrich is in. They've dropped down to 14th position. But don't worry about that. This is all part of the story here, as we are waiting for everyone to come through the pits. The question will be, and by the way, Harry Tinkle has not rejoined in the Mustang, and I'm just trying to work out. Antonio Garcia is back out on the circuit though. Yes. So there we are, and here is the penalty. Nick Tandy in the pit lane, Shane.
Drive-through for Nick, pretty clean cut from race control, and this will not be their stop because he has to just keep on going. So he can wave to his crew, but he will have to come back down to do the actual change.
He'll be annoyed with himself about that. It's a game. It's a very, very fine margins here. That hasn't killed the race for them, but he's come out just. Do you think?
I beg to differ. Yeah, unless they need something else to fall in their favour now to be able to come back from that. Well, the good news is you don't lose that much time coming onto the pit lane. Actually, it's a relatively short pit lane here, so you don't lose as much time as you do on some tracks. But it's still going to be it's certainly going to be costly. You're going to find himself. I guess maybe he's got himself out in fifth position. So he's pretty lucky there.
He's sixth actually. He's just ahead of Ben Fiscal in the Proton. Now he ran down the middle of the pit lane there on the blue, and I thought that was out of bounds there. If that had been NFL, he had a foot out. There was a cleat or two that was out. Let's see how Nick returns. I think they changed their strategy now. Nick is quick. He's going well. I think they leave it, whatever they were going to do, they leave him in and let him go long, because he is pedaling that car very, very quickly indeed. He goes past the number 1, Brian Sellers, now in the Paul Miller Racing BMW, having made its stop for its driver change. So at the front, Philippe Albuquerque leads for Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti in the Acura. He's got half a second on Sebastian Bourdais, who's got 0.8 of a second on Dane Cameron in the PPM. Porsche 963. Then there's another half a second back to Nick Yellerly. The top 4 separated, Jeremy, by under 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's game on there at the front of the field, isn't it? Most assuredly. And they're still trying to find their way past the leading GT car, Tommy Milner. He's kind of holding them off here. And train of cars behind him. Then peels off somebody into the pit lane. I think that was Sebastian Bourdais.
Whalen. It's 31 car.
No, Whelan was in the runoff.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, he's gone off at turn 1 as Bourdais will be getting out of the 0-1 car. So this is their pit stop. This is the first of the pit stops, Shay, our CrowdStrike pit lane reporter. This is the first of the scheduled pit stops for the GTP cars.
Well, no, we had the 24 in already with Philip Eng handing over to Jesse Krohn.
Yeah, excuse me.
This is the Cadillac that has not changed tires. So let's see if this works once again for Chip Ganassi's men and women. And Cadillac Racing as a whole, they want this win more than anybody else.
Now this is strategy playing out now, Jeremy. Still an hour and 10 minutes to go here. It's a short track, 1.7 miles, 9 corners, an hour and 10 minutes for the GTP car. What says Mr. Shaw?
I mean, they can get to the end from here, yeah, no problem at all. I think they might need to do a little bit of a fuel save here, but certainly not much. We're going to see pretty much everybody come into the pit lane, I think, as a result of that pretty soon now. I think they can save enough fuel from here, I think, to get to the end.
Also coming in, the Cunningham and Alta Acura, the chrome blue and black car. Not a thought, the tyres again there, Shea, Adam.
Nope, they came in from the lead of the race. Philippe Albuquerque with that great start and opening stint, handing over to Ricky Taylor. Jeremy and I talked about it a little bit in the practice 3 this morning, which was effectively the morning warm-up, saying if there are 2 guys you want in your race car who know how to win on street course, well, Ricky and Philippe are definitely a good bet, but they came out ahead of the other 2 guys you would want in your car, Sebastian Bourdais and Renger van de Zande. This is going to be interesting.
Well, this is absolutely incredible stuff. And we have not written any of the final headlines yet. Dane Cameron now leads for Porsche. Had not a great start, let's be honest. He peels off into the pit lane now. His teammate ready to take over. Porsche keys to the race, just a 100-minute race, so you've got to minimise those issues as the 7 car comes to a stop. And Shea Adam is watching this one for us in this CrowdStrike pit lane report.
No tires once again. They're a little bit further down the pit lane, so they don't actually have to worry about the car rolling forward, unlike their sister car in the 31. Both of whom have, well, the sister car hasn't done its stop yet, but this is a fuel dependent. Now we go. Let's see, that puts them back up to 100% energy, and it's Felipe Nasr to the end.
Yeah, you can follow along with the telemetry from the GTP cars. If you use your whatever browser search engine, IMSA GTP telemetry, you will find it, and it's all there. It's dead easy to find. And now we're waiting for Nick Yellerly in the lead BMW. He's got a 2.8 second lead. When will he come into the race? And I'm looking to see who hasn't yet stopped in the GTDs, and the answer is the leader. That is the only car that's not yet stopped, Jeremy.
That's exactly right, and he's got a lead of about 31 seconds over Ben Barnick in second position. So, good stop. They've maintained their position ahead of the AO Racing Porsche, which is now in third in the hands of Lauren Heinrich. Alex Riberas, he's moved up a couple of positions during that pit stop sequence, but as you say, all of the GTD Pro cars have now been into the pit lane to have their driver change, except for the race leader. A drive-through here, and coming into pit lane, stopping and going again, cost you a little bit over 20 seconds. So, but then of course the driver changed about 20 seconds as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see whether Emil. The good news is he's going to go flat out to the end of the race once he makes his stop, but he's got to make sure he maintains that track position.
Shea Adam was watching the stops for us and has this CrowdStrike pit lane report on the stops for now Felipe Nasr in the number 7 Porsche Penske Motorsport 963.
Our top 3 cars have yet to make their pit stop, even though Nick Tandy has been down the pit lane once. So that means that effectively our race leader is Felipe Nasr in the number 7. But it was a really good stop also by the second of the Wayne Taylor with Andretti cars. That would be now piloted by Louis Delatraz in the 40. He is now up into third, right behind sister car, which is being driven by Ricky Taylor.
Tandy back up to second, still with getting off for half of his energy left. And as I said, immediately he got that that penalty, they're going to send him long. Now, the question will be, what are BMW M Team RLL going to do? They've got a 3.2 second lead at the moment. Nick Tandy lapping a tiny little bit quicker last time around than Nick Yellerly. So two quick nicks at the front of the field. Ben Fiscal yet to make his stop and change over as well in the Pro competition. The black and gold number 5 Porsche, but he's another 7 seconds further back, so he's going to drop back into the pack. So it's now all about what's going on at the front of the field as Nick Yellerly is in traffic. The number 25 then, Dan Franklin, heading down towards one of the biggest stops, if not the biggest stop, 180 miles an hour down to 30 miles an hour, swings over to the right-hand side, bangs his left foot hard on the brake pressure, really important here, flicks the left-hand paddle to get down to first gear, gathers himself back up again, and in round about 1 minute and 6 seconds, he'll have to do that all over again. This is a brutal circuit for the drivers. 100 minutes doesn't seem much, but they'll know they've had a workout after this one, Jeremy.
Yeah, they certainly will. It's rough, it's bumpy, it's a challenge here. There's not a lot of grip through the corners either. With these low downforce, these cars are obliged to run because these cars are homologated. And if you're not familiar with racing terminology, what that means is that the specifications of the car are set. With most forms of racing, you can change them from racetrack to racetrack. For a street circuit like this, you pile on more downforce, bigger wings, flaps on the front to nail the front to the ground effectively with the air pressure. You can't do that because these cars are mandated to run as they are, period. And so these cars are sliding through the corners and not having nearly as much grip as the drivers would like. So as a result of that, they're going to have, they're pushing very, very hard, and it's so much easier to make a mistake with this configuration.
Jeremy Shaw, Shea Adam, John Hindhoff, Shea Adam, our crowd strike pit lane reporter, Jeremy and myself in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre, which will be packed up and moved to the Circuit de la Sarthe for next weekend's test, and then we'll have the whole of race week as well. We'll have our satellite Global Performance Centre as well, making sure that we give you all of the IMSA coverage from mid-Ohio. It is a bumper month of June for endurance racing, with Watkins Glen to come the weekend after Le Mans, the Salem 6 hours coming up as well. So there's plenty going on. Talking to some of the guys at the Nürburgring over the last few days, they've got DM Dome and the CrowdStrike 24 hours at Spa, the 100th anniversary running of that as well. An absolutely monumentally bonkers 6 weeks or so for endurance racing. And isn't it great? Because we're not having to wait months and months between the events. Let's check in on the GTD Pro battle. Tommy Milner still yet to make his stop. He's got 34 seconds in hand in the Chevrolet Corvette number 4 from Ben Barnicut in second, and the Vassar Sullivan number 14. That's the full season Pro entry. Then there's just 9/10 of a second. Lauren Heinrich with target acquired. Ben Barnicut and Lauren Heinrich both made their stops, so that 33 seconds is going to disappear on Tommy Milner and the 25 BMW, the better placed of the cars. Connor De Filippi's just taken that car over, and on his outlap he has looped it down at turn number 3 and loses a good handful of seconds. He was on his own coming out of the pit lane. Yep, super quick, hard stop. Yeah, outlap must be... Oh, he hit the wall. I thought he just looped it. He's hit the tyre wall quite substantially. He was trying to keep the number 7 of Felipe Nasr behind and came from the middle of the road rather than from the optimum part of the circuit. And that's why he turned in just a tiny little bit late. He, I think, has got away without any too much damage. Meantime, leader Shea in from GTD Pro. That is Tommy Milner now out of the car for this CrowdStrike pit lane report.
Nicky Katzberg taking over for the number 4 Corvette, they had told Tommy on the radio to push really hard because trying to set a pace that was as quick as what Tommy was laying down, they felt the rest of the teams would need to come in and do a splash of fuel, because if we stay green, it's going to be very tight for everyone else in the field, whereas the 4 Corvette, controlling the pace, they feel pretty good about their fuel number.
So now all of the GTD Pro cars, Jeremy, have made their stop. The GTP battle really heating up as well. Nick Tandy, the only car that has not made its stop to change driver. Yes, it's been down the pit lane, but of course that was for his drive-through. He's got 30 seconds. That's getting tight. I don't. Is that going to be enough to get him in and out the pits ahead of Felipe Nasr? He's going to have to keep his head down. I think you leave Nick in this and just send him and tell him basically light the afterburners here.
Well, they have to do the driver change, and that's going to take, that takes about 20 seconds. It takes about 20 seconds to drive through the pits, so no, he won't hold on to the lead with this pit stop. And I think that was him ducking into the pits right there to the right-hand side. That's Di Filippi.
Oh, now Tandy needs to be in. Tandy needs to be into the pits
He is in.
right now.
FCY.
Did he beat the full course caution?
Yes.
in?
Easily.
Oh, that is brilliant calling on the pit lane. Tim Cindric, of course, not allowed to be in the IndyCar pit lane, but he's still working his magic. He's still been working his magic in the sports car pit lane. He's served his ban now in the IndyCar pit lane, but he's still been overseeing what's going on here. And this is the number 25, Connor De Filippi, on his second lap out. And meantime, Tandy is in and out of the pit lane. He will have changed over, of course, so we'll say that's rear right suspension damage. Outstanding work and a great call from the guys at Porsche Penske Motorsport. They could be 1-2 here, Jeremy, back where they were when they started the race under the most extraordinary of circumstances.
I mean, I'd rather be lucky than good, and if you're lucky and good, even better, certainly, because that was 2 mistakes there for Colin Di Filippi. He already made one on the out lap, and he makes another one there. That's a shame. I mean, the BMWs, they were so strong again this weekend. We've seen it several times in the past, and they haven't had the results to show for it. At Long Beach, they were just really unlucky with the timing of the full course caution there, and once again, it's come back to bite them here.
Connor De Filippi, not a happy bunny at all. The left-hand side door is open. The AMR safety crew are there in the Porsche Cayenne and the IMSA GM safety trucks. AMR safety team not required. Connor's fine. He's a bit cheesed off, is what I would say. No one to blame but himself there in terms of the incident. Made one mistake down on his out lap at turn 3. Maybe just lost a little bit of temperature out of the tyres. They did not change the tyres, and then further round the next lap really clouted the wall with a huge sideways slide. So according to the timing and scoring, Porsche number 6 did get out without losing the lead. Yeah,
and the reason for that, John,
that's splendid.
The reason for that is because when the caution came out, everybody else had to slow down, and the number 6 car was already on its way into the pit lane. So just incredible good fortune. I mean, the timing was absolutely perfect for that car, and they're going to retain the lead when they really shouldn't have done.
Yeah, they should have been about 10 seconds down, really, shouldn't they? Coming in and changing drivers. So Mathieu Jaminet has taken over the number 6. If you're just joining us and you looked at the qualifying results, you'll see that the 2 Porsches that were first and second, the 963s, are first and second. So you could be forgiven for thinking, oh, nothing's happened here. Well, that is not the case. Make sure you pick up the replay and the highlights on the IMSA YouTube channel or the audio highlights on imsaradio.com. Let's give you a rundown of the positions then under our second full course yellow. We started the race pretty much straight away with a problem for Harry Tinknell, unspecified problem for Harry Tinknell. Now, I've now got the 64 car running again.
Yes.
On my screen. Shea Adam is our CrowdStrike pit lane reporter.
We were just on board with him a couple of moments ago, John, on the video stream, which you can get on YouTube around the rest of the world. And Harry, very much behind the wheel of the car. That would answer why he didn't answer my text message.
Don't text and drive. Excellent thought. Now, some cars are going back past the safety car at the moment. This is the pass around. Any of the GTD Pro cars that were caught in between the safety car and their class leader are allowed to go through. Race control doesn't tell you, they just say pass around. If you think you're eligible, you better go, and you have to get it right as well. Otherwise, there are some fairly punitive penalties that will be applied. Partner Thompson in the Vassar Sullivan Lexus has gone around. He's leading a small group of cars. Also in there, the Paul Miller Racing machine, which I think has got Brian Sellers behind the wheel. Yes, it has. Dirk Muller for Ford Multimatic in the remaining, in the better placed of the two Multimatic Ford Mustangs, the 65 car. So that Albert Costa Balboa as well for Conquest Ferrari. He'll have gone through as well. So those cars have all disappeared through, and I think also Alexander Sims will have been given away by, as will Harry Tinknell, although they are many laps down at the moment. So we close up behind the blue and white Corvette safety car, and our VP in race update will tell you that Mathieu Jaminet is leading for Porsche Penske Motorsport in the pole sitting car that he took over from Nick Tandy, who stormed away to a nearly 5-second lead before we had that first full course yellow, and then on the restart he stormed away to another nearly 5-second lead before he nailed the back of the Conquest car and had to come in for a drive-through. That dropped him down through the field, but they've left Tandy in, and he was setting very good lap times. Meantime, Dane Cameron dropped down to 4th position for Porsche Penske Motorsport off the start and settled himself in, got himself sorted. Oh, Felipe Nasr's come in the pits from 2nd for Porsche Penske Motorsport. What is that about? Shea Adam is our CrowdStrike pit lane reporter.
Tires? No, doesn't look like it's going to be tires. Oh, no, car is going up on the air jacks. I did just receive a report, and thank you very much to our eyes and ears out around the circuit for keeping me informed. The 65 Ford Mustang might have kissed the wall under this caution and maybe proceeding with the flat tire, so we'll have to keep our eyes open for when the pits are open this next time by for all the GTs. That looked like that was right side tires only, perhaps only a right rear for the Penske Porsche.
It certainly didn't. I don't even think they put the fuel hose on that car. I should have kind of been watching that, shouldn't I? Because I could have done that on the telemetry. Where has he dropped back down to? That is the question. In the number 7 car, that is an extraordinary decision. There must, Jeremy, have been something wrong there. Yeah, he's gone all the way down to the back.
Yeah, no, clearly something amiss there for the number 7 car. They wouldn't have needed to come on to the pit lane again. And as you say, there wouldn't have been certainly no need to put on any fuel with this caution, even if they were a bit marginal on fuel, which they shouldn't have been when they came in. Then no need for any fuel. So clearly something else arrived then with that number 7 car. Of course, that will drop it to the back of the field now in the GTP race. So it looks like the number 31 car also came in during that caution period. Most likely, I would suggest perhaps to try some fresh tyres, if they have any fresh tyres left.
Yeah, now who's in that car? Did they leave Jack Aiken in it?
Yeah,
yes, they
question.
did. Yeah, it's what it's. It sometimes takes a moment or two for the driver identifier to change there. So Felipe Nasr then dropping down through the timing after that stop, and he will drop all the way down in the number 7 car to Well, he's dropped down to 8th place at the moment because Jack Aitken made that stop as well. However, what we've got is we're going to have a 40-something, 45, 46-minute dash. And then time an update from Ford. Not a banner day in Ford's hometown for the Blue Oval. Shea Adam.
No, it's been a very difficult day so far, what with the problems at the 64 Ford Mustang right at the beginning of the race, and now for the 65. It was a kiss on the wall, but it was quite a passionate kiss from Dirk Mueller, and it appears that that car is in the pit lane with some suspension damage. So the work continuing to the 65. If it does manage to get back out, it would then have to do a subsequent drive-through for entering a closed pit. Also, thanks to Anja for the update from Porsche, it was a rear tire slow puncture for Felipe Nasr. That's why they brought him in and changed just that right rear.
See, when you said passionate kiss there, I immediately thought of Mary Shaman Carpenter, and I'm not sure she's driving in this series this year. So, just on 50 minutes to go, as we are under full course yellow again, and the safety car has the leader, Mathieu Jaminet, in behind the blue and white Corvette. And just 65, she's gone back out again there, Shea, right in front of the safety car. So it's on Franklin right now, so there's a bit of a run to go to get back onto the end of the field. So Dirk Mueller, having slapped the wall, he is a full lap down on the leader in class, but at least he will get back onto the end of the field. We have lost Connor De Filippi in the BMW M Hybrid V8. Two very uncharacteristic mistakes from Connor De Filippi on his outlap and the subsequent lap. Has taken that car out of things. That's gone on a flatbed. There were problems for Antonio Garcia right at the start of the race, an alternator problem. Alexander Sims is back out in the number 3 car that was the pole sitter for Corvette Racing by Pratt Miller. And Harry Tincknell with an unspecified problem in the 64 car, but that car is going again. Although Alexander Sims and Harry Tincknell are 16 and 24 laps down on the leaders consecutive, respectively there. So waiting to go back to green.
Did the number 65 car lose a lap, or was he able to get back out there and
no, I think he's lost a lap on. Yeah, I think he's lost a lap on the GT. Let's see what. No. You see, where's this finish line? They're going to come through now to start.
Yes, he has.
39. Yes, he has. He's only on 37. Dirk Muller hustling back around. And we go back to green flag racing, and Mathieu Jaminet gets the right pedal all the way down to the ground as he comes round through turn 2, having had the green flag. Now Nick Tandy was able to put a gap onto the field pretty much straight away. Now we've got some interest because Jimmy Bruni is right at the tailpipes of Jesse Krohn. That's Porsche versus BMW, and the Porsche's got a really good run. Can't quite see Bruni at the moment. He's so close up the back of that blue and white BMW. Comes to the right-hand side. Now to the left. Oh, big block thrown there by the BMW, and round the outside, taking advantage. Felipe Nasr has absolutely read that one perfectly, and he does buy one, get one free. 2 positions there, and that was a huge block thrown by the BMW driver there, Jeremy. I think that might be looked at on the restart.
I agree, because that was, it looked to me like he was moving in reaction to, oh my goodness me, that's the glass leading car of Niki Kausberg, who apparently has kissed the wall as well.
Another passionate kiss. He was under pressure from the Lexus. Did he get a helping hand? He got more than that. That was a little bit of a hip and shoulder, but did he close the door.
Yeah.
And that's what Rachel are going to have to look at, moving in the braking area. And then the EOL 77 Porsche right in there as well for Lauren Heinrich. And we've had a huge incident, and the track is blocked. Around has gone the number 85 Richard Westbrook car, and there's all kinds of people in there. The 31 Jack Aiken, Heinrich is in there. The leader in the GTD Pro category, Ben Barnicott's in there. Heart of Racing in there. This might be a red flag. 45 minutes to go. And can the 31 Jack Aiken get around? After you, Claude. No, after you, Sebastian. It is going to be... Hang on a minute.
It has to be a
we've
red
got
flag,
safety
surely.
workers out there. We've got safety workers out there, so everybody's going to have to cool right down here. There's an opportunity to get these cars moving, but at the moment it's Richard Westbrook who's got to try and find the lock on these cars, and they don't have any steering angle to do that, and he's trying. I might imagine everybody behind him saying, well, I want to have a go as well. Jack Aiken saying, I can squeeze through there if he stops doing that. So what occurred? We've had several incidents, and it was down the inside from the number 31. That's a penalty as well. That's another easy one for the 31 of Jack Aiken. That wasn't smart, Jack. It wasn't smart. Even if he'd been totally alongside there, Jeremy, as they were going into that corner, I'm not sure there's room at that point in the track. There's not room there. There's not room there at turn. Well, that's turn 6, isn't it?
Turn one, I think. Yeah, turn
one. Excuse me. Yeah.
And I mean, and he'd already made a mistake, hadn't he? He'd been off earlier on, hadn't he? Had Jack, after taking over the wheel of that car, just kind of while everybody else was making their pit stops, he was
good
around
point.
somewhere.
Yes, he had.
In his escape road, wasn't he?
Well, Matthew Jaminet had built up a great lead, much like Nick Tandy did, and that's disappeared.
This is a farce now. Why have we not got a red flag? I don't get it.
Yeah, I expected with the track blocked to see that. The Lexus has got some damage to the right front. We saw that earlier on, the number 14 car of Ben Barnicott. We're going to have to get the safety car in the right place here to pick up the leader. It is Mathieu Jaminet. Jaminet is behind the safety car, so well done to the IMSA officials. And I reckon everybody's moving again. So it was just getting the banana boat out of the way to get everybody through. But what we've got now is the number 7 car right up the tailpipes. So almost lost a lap. There was a lot of weaving around there by the BMW down into turn 3. That's a completely separate incident that's going to have to be looked at, with Jimmy Bruni thinking to himself he might have got through there, but a great move around the outside, Felipe Nasr. That is opportune driving 101 right there, Jeremy, isn't it, by Nasr?
Yeah, it really is. He saw the opportunity there and absolutely grasped it. Brilliant move there by Nasr. He makes up 4 positions that restart, because he already got past the banana boat earlier on that restart lap. So he went from 8th position, now finds himself in 4th in car number 7. That's pretty amazing.
Shea Adam is our CrowdStrike pit lane reporter. She's watching the cars, she's getting news from the teams as well, and not everybody may have come out of that intact, Shea Adam.
No, well, the significant amount of damage to the front of the Lexus. The significant amount of damage to the Lexus means that we should be seeing the 14 back down the pit lane when that opens. Speaking of coming out of the pit lane when it wasn't open, the 65 does need to come in and serve a penalty for an improperly served pit stop. That was when the pits were closed. Dirk Mueller coming in to address the suspension issue on that Ford Mustang. But also, it looks like the front splitter is sort of flapping in the wind a bit for the number 7 Porsche Penske Motorsport entry of Felipe Nasr. That's something we're going to have to keep an eye on as well.
It will surprise you not at all, I'm sure, to know that the incident between the number 4 Corvette and the number 14 Vassar Sullivan Lexus is under review. The upshot of that is that the EO Racing Porsche of Sebastian Prix and Lauren Heinrich, who is behind the wheel at the moment, is leading GTD Pro. One gold tooth for the dinosaur that is Rexy already. That was from the win last time out. Could be a second gold tooth here. Extraordinary. Meantime, Mathieu Jaminet leads the race overall. It's Porsche Penske Motorsport number 6 from the 10 of Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti. Where's the number 10 car come from, Jeremy? It's stealthed its way up into second place, and the Cadillac 01 of Renger van der Zander's up into third now, with Felipe Nasr down to fourth. There's been some big change around going on at the front of the field.
No, actually, the number 10 car moved to the second position right at the start of the race, if you remember, and it's just maintained that since then. Yeah, I mean, there's been various other shufflings around going on, but no, it was that first lap move by Philip Albuquerque was critical there, and Ricky Taylor's now just doing the job there in that second position. Whether he's got anything for the Porsche is probably doubtful, but still, it's been a great run by that team, by far their most competitive outing of the season so far. I mean, they were showing really good pace in that first stint as well, in that number 10 Acura. Number 6 Porsche that's leading the race, remarkably, has got comfortably the fastest lap. It's the only car in the 5s, a 105.874. Next best is, well, pretty much everybody else has done a 6.2 or a 6.3. The only outlier is Richard Westbrook, who's done a 6.9. Actually, the 31 car's done a 6.1. But apart from the number 6 car, the rest of the field, bar number 85, covered by just over 1/10 of a second in terms of their best laps during this race.
I noticed that Parker Thompson, Shea Adam, has dropped back behind Marvin Kerkhofer. The Pfaff Motorsport McLaren now back ahead of the Lexus RCF GT3. I presume that is basically putting right a pass that happened under that yellow during the blockage, is it?
Correct, because Kirchhofer was ahead before they got to the yellow, and when they departed the yellow, Parker Thompson was ahead of Kirchhofer. So glad that Pfaff was able to speak to race control and get that fixed, and now Kirchhofer in the 4th position in that McLaren. Could it be a good day when we're racing north of Canada for the Canadian team as we go back to green?
Yes, bizarrely, we are north of the border, but not over the border, if that makes sense. Detroit always throws my onboard GPS off. We are back to green with 36, check that, 38 minutes to go, and Mathieu Jaminet jumping off to a fantastic restart, just as Nick Tandy had done earlier on. Ricky Taylor having to defend for a moment from Craig van der Zande, the 01 Cadillac, the gold front. And then it's Felipe Nasr, and then there's a cracking battle going on. Oh, here comes the Porsche on the Cadillac. That's Felipe Nasr on Renger van der Zande. He goes to the right, he goes to the left, he goes back to the left again, defending as they come through turns 4, 5, 6 and 7. Van der Zande has got a real battle on his hand behind them. Check this out. We've got Wayne Taylor Racing with Louis Delatraz in the number 40, Jesse Krohn, Jimmy Bruni, Richard Westbrook, all right there together as they're battling for 5th on down. And this has just energised the race again. We're still, Jeremy, believe it or not, we only started with 100 minutes on the clock. We've still got 37 of them remaining.
Yes, with that pretty breathless, wasn't it, the first part of the race, and then we had a big, well, I'm not sure what the lap time was for those guys that were held up in that instant in turn 1, but it was probably 2 or 3 minutes. It was bizarre. But you know, I mean, there's most of the cars are in the same order as they were before. And in fact, they all are, except for the fact that the number 77 car managed to get past number 14, which I don't think was the case when they came up behind those leaders. But number 77 car with Lauren Heinrich now is leading the race, and the Lexus is still running behind him in second position, I believe, but with that pretty substantial front end damage.
Yeah, it sneaked through just before the blockage when there was that coming together with the Lexus and the Corvette. And so it was a different incident. And there's bits of carbon fibre making their bid for freedom from that second place car. They might be looking here to be allowed to continue. If bits of car are falling off and leaving debris on the circuit, you might see a black and orange mechanical flag, the meatball flag. Oh, big look up by Jimmy Bruni as he claws onto the back of Jesse Krohn. This is the battle for 6th, 7th and 8th. Jack Aitken right there as well, as he's trying to close in from his mistake earlier on. What a fabulous couple of sets of battles here. I wasn't sure how this track was going to race. Meantime, at the front of the GTD Pro battle, Lexi leads, but there's the debris flag out. Rubbish on the track. Rexy, sorry, not Lexi.
Rexy from Lexi. And
Rexy
what,
from
up into
Lexi.
third,
Yeah, Rexy from the Lexus. Very good.
And up into third position now is the McLaren, having got past Marvin Kirchhofer, managed to get past Alex Ribres' Aston Martin on that last lap. So up into third position now for car number 9. It's been a great run for that Pfaff Motorsports entry.
They've just quietly gone about their business today. We're going to have a penalty. Shea Adam, our CrowdStrike pit lane reporter, has news.
It will surprise no one that the incident that caused the blockage, which was the dive from Jack Aitken, has earned a drive-through penalty, and that will be served now.
So that number 31 car in 8th position of the 8 competitively running cars in GTP is right there. Meantime, at the front of the GTP Pro field, the battle is on between Porsche and Lexus, and here comes some of the GTP field as well. So Jack Aitken, in fact, has just been through the pit lane, goes round in the wheel and Cadillac, and the top 3 in GTD Pro with Porsche, Rexy from Lexi, and the Lexus. Thank you, Jeremy. I'm stealing that. And then Marvin Kirchhofer.
Yeah, he's
in
closing
the McLaren from Pfaff. He's right there, Jeremy. He's got a good-looking car. Remember that Lexus has got damage on the front end, and that must be affecting the downforce. Now, is this a downforce track? You might ask that, but cars aren't meant to have bits hanging off the front. Jump back to the GTPs, and Louis Delatraz in 5th position in the red and black Acura from WTR Andretti. He's at the moment looking in his mirrors because he's got Jesse Krohn and Jimmy Bruni right there. So there's plenty going on at the front of the field. Mathieu Jaminet has eased away. He has not jumped away, but he's got nearly 8/10 of a second. And in the context of what we're seeing here, that is a gap that he'll be very happy to have at the moment. And between him and Ricky Taylor, they've put 3 seconds now into Renger van der Zande in the gold-fronted Cadillac.
Yeah, and the second of the Lexus is running very nicely there with Parker Thompson at the wheel. He's got himself up into the 5th position in the class. And Brian Sellers, who's kept his nose clean, done a really nice job. He and Madison Snow in Paul Miller Racing BMW. Of course, they started 11th and last, and now up inside the top 6, which is a big stride forward for them. The car yesterday in qualifying was handling great. It just wasn't fast. So they tried all sorts of different things. They threw a completely different setup on the car this morning for the warm-up. Unfortunately, it was worse. So they've gone back to yesterday's setup for today's race. That seems to be working fine enough for Brian Sellers here to hold on, at least for the moment, ahead of the Ferrari of Albert Costa.
They're right together as they head down to the braking area at the far side of the circuit. They turn through turns 1 and 2, and now on to Franklin, the long straight, effectively the back straight, if you will. And they're right in the middle of the GTD Pro field at the moment. That debris is still out there in the middle of the track, and IMSA have decided that it's big enough that people can see it. Sort of said, well, you know, be adults about this, drivers, please, and try not to run over it. It's
We had
okay.
something similar in the morning session,
Just
John,
looking
where
at
there
the
was a
pace
large
of the
chunk
leaders,
of Prix.
John, and Remco van der Zande seems to be struggling somewhat at this stage in third position in the Cadillac, because he's slipping back from the two leaders who are staying pretty close together.
Yeah, that's a good point. Last time around, they were all much of a muchness. 108.1, 108.1, 108.4, 108.7 for Felipe and Nasr, but all of a sudden that gap between the leading pair, which is half a second, is down to the third, is getting on for 4 seconds. Into the pits for Harry Tincknell again. It was suspension issues, did we think, for that car earlier on, Shea?
No, that was the sister car, the 65. Still don't have an answer on the 64, but they needed to do their driver
Shea?
change because Harry started the race.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, very good point. I'd forgotten that. Well done. That Lexus, by the way, in second place, Ben Barnicat. That I am not happy. It's not for me to say, but I am not happy with the way the engine cover, the bonnet, the hood, is flapping around. Meantime, at the front of the field, with spot on half an hour to go, would you like a race at the front of the field for the overall victory? Well, I think we can probably provide you with one of those, as Mathieu Jaminet has been caught by Ricky Taylor. It's Porsche Penske Motorsport 963 from Acura ARX06, Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti and Ricky Taylor. And Ricky's got target acquired as they pick. Down to turn 3, slowest corner on the circuit, big stop, down to first, second, back down to first again for turn 4. Now the short shoot into 5, same thing, back down the gearbox, down the hill, through to turn 6, turn left, turn right, through turn 7 now, and onto a little bit longer straight before they head now, again over a little rise. This is not a flat circuit, by the way. It may be a downtown street circuit, but there are some rises or falls depending on where they are on the circuit. Looks like there's a bit of damage to the right front of Ricky Taylor's car. May have picked up somebody else's bodywork on that, but there looks to be something sticking out of the number 10 car that shouldn't be there. Now these two guys are starting to fight. Will we see Renger van der Zande start to close in, and can Felipe Nasr as well, Jeremy, making a fourfer at the front of the field? There are 7 seconds between the top 4 at the moment. Let's keep an eye on that gap.
They are. The two leaders, though, they're staying pretty close together. They are still edging away, although that gap is now, it's kind of stabilised between second and third. But on the last couple of laps, Felipe Nasr hasn't been as quick as Renger van der Zande, so he doesn't seem to be putting the pressure on, at least yet. We've still got, 28 minutes remaining in this race.
Still plenty could happen. No scheduled pit stops remaining. This is a fight to the finish. This is the chase to the checkered flag as we are on the streets of Detroit for the Chevrolet Detroit Sports Car Classic, IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship, and from the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre, Jeremy Shaw is with me, John Hindhaugh. Shea Adam is our CrowdStrike pit lane reporter, keeping an eye on everything that is going on and talking to the teams, trying to get that information. There are no, and I repeat, no fuel worries, Shea Adam, for any of the teams out there. We've had enough yellow that no matter when people stop, they are fine to go full reach all the way to the end of this race. Shea Adam.
The only car that I'm worried about, John, is the 24 BMW, because they only have 45% of their energy allotment left, whereas the leaders at the front have 60.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. GTP telemetry is available from IMSA, and that is the outlier. That really is the outlier for Jesse Cronin, 6th position. So I presume they've got their numbers right. It would be very odd if they haven't, because they haven't been under pressure at all in terms of what they need to do. In the GTD Pro battle, Lauren Heinrich by 2.5 seconds now in the AO Racing Porsche, the bright green number 77. From the battered and bruised Ben Barnicat driven Vassar Sullivan Lexus RCF GT3 in second place, the number 14. He's got about 1.6 seconds on Marvin Kirchhoffer, who's holding down third as there's lead down at turn 3, down the inside. That was a late move by Ricky Taylor, but it was a great move. Late and great. And Ricky Taylor leads for Acura ARX and for Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti just catching Mattia Giovanni sleeping a bit as they put a lap on the, I think that was the number 65 Dirk Muller Ford Multimatic racing car that they went through as they were coming in the braking area at the end of Franklin, Jeremy. That had been done, and I think that Giovanni thought that the threat had gone. It was far from gone. It was on his left-hand side.
Exactly right, and by the time he'd realised it, he might have thought about closing the door, but you realise that you can't. It's too late. I mean, the Acuras came up alongside him, and there's no escape there, effectively, for Matthew Giovanni. He has to cede that position. Brilliant move, though, by Ricky Taylor. That was absolutely superb. He saw one opportunity, and he just dived for it and got that lead of the race. Wow. Tell you what, even with making that pass, Ricky Taylor's last lap time was a 107.7. So that's about what they hadn't been doing. They'd been doing 7s and 8s actually. So even with that pass, it was a faster lap than the leader's previous lap. So they're actually looking really, really good at the moment.
Still waiting for race control to give us a decision on the incident between the number 14 Ben Barnicott's Lexus for Vassar Sullivan and what was at the time the race-leading Corvette, of course. And as yet not seen that. What I haven't seen, and come back through the race control channels and talk amongst yourselves at the moment, as to whether that is being looked at the moment.
It was.
And have we had a decision on that, Shea?
We have not.
Okay. Everything is looked at in chronological order, so from the time that it happened. So that is being assessed at the moment. There's a few cars with 1 or 2 injuries out there at the moment, not least the second place car in both of the classes, Ben Barnicott, with damage, significant damage actually in the Vassar Sullivan Lexus. Slightly less for Mathieu Giovanni, but he's not able to hold the pace of Ricky Taylor at the moment. This is a great opportunity, Jeremy Shaw, for Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti, and behind Louis Delatraz in the sister car, still holding on to 5th under the ultimate pressure with 3 Chargers right behind him.
Yeah, that's right, because I mean, he's had since the restart Jesse Cronin in the BMW and Jimmy Bruni in the 5 Proton Porsche right there. Well, now Jack Aitken, having served that penalty after the restart, he's closed in as well. So as you say, a 4-car battle there for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. That's tremendous. And in the meantime, looking at the leader's lap time, what was 7.4 last time around for our race leader. Interesting that before the full course caution, the leaders were doing 6s, now 7.4, and that's quicker than anybody else at the moment. So the track, I guess, there's bits of debris out there, and the track isn't as fast apparently as it was a little while ago. Also interesting, did we really take a note, Shay, of who took tyres and who didn't during the pit stop? Did anybody change tyres of the leaders? Do you know?
The only tire change that I saw this entire race, Jeremy, from any of the car was that single tire on the number 7 for Felipe Nasr when he had the slow puncture.
Yeah.
Really?
That's right.
Okay, because in 3rd position, Renger van der Zande is slipping back now at a pretty prodigious rate from the 2nd place car of Mathieu Giovanni, and he in turn is pulling away from Felipe Nasr in 4th position. We saw Renger van der Zande struggle mightily. Where was that? Was that at
Long Beach.
Raceway? Long Beach, was it? Okay.
No, WeatherTech, you're correct.
Yeah, it was WeatherTech, wasn't it? But he really struggled in the later stages, presumably because he was on older tyres.
Got to say, at the front end of the 2nd place GTD Pro Vassar Sullivan car is looking somewhat precarious. Race control will be keeping an eye on that. Ben Barnicott is dropped away by some 4 seconds now, and he's been caught by Marvin Kirkhoff actually wasn't last time around. He took time out of the Faf Motorsport McLaren. But it's down under 2 seconds now, that gap. There's all kinds of bits and pieces that are flapping around at the front of that Lexus. We can see parts of the car that frankly we shouldn't be able to, and right now they must be teetering on the edge of a mechanical black flag. There's some quite large pieces there, including some of the lighting units. We've got debris all over the circuit at the moment. I would suggest if this was any other racetrack, we probably would have gone full course caution here, but because it happens to be on the widest part of the track on Franklin running down to turn 3, race control, not unreasonably I think, have decided to let this one run. There are switched messages that go out to the teams to tell their drivers that there is potential of danger. Let's pick up some more of the battles, because Marvin Kirkhoff has got force just yellow, just as we were talking about that. Now, is this for debris or somebody else gone off? There is debris around the course, and Marvin Kirkhoff, I was just about to say, is having to defend from Alex Riberas. There's a very big bit of Ford Mustang that's on that part of the circuit, and I think it's been clipped by somebody, and I think that's why, because it was further over to the middle of the track, and I think race control have thought now that it can't be left any further. There's just on 20 minutes to go as Marvin Kirkhoff was being caught by Alex Riberas for the Heart of Racing Aston Martin Vantage. At IMSA Radio, if you want to get in touch with us. Hello to Brandon. Quite surprised that Durrani hasn't got back into the wheeling car. Has he got an issue? Is he not feeling well? Don't know at the moment, but we'll set Shea off on that one. As far as I'm aware, he was fine. He was pretty hot in the qualifying until he clipped the wall and lost his 2 fastest times. So we're going to have a shootout here for the end, and not happy will be Ricky Taylor, who pulled out just over a second to Mathieu Jaminet. Not happy will be Lauren Heinrich, who pulled out 4 seconds on Ben Barnicut. Shea Adam has news from the Whelen Engineering pit on Pete Durrani with this CrowdStrike pit lane report.
I spoke with Ian Watt about this on Thursday when I was at the track, and he said we are going to have an unhappy driver because our qualifying driver is only going to be driving the minimum time at the start of the race, and then the finishing driver will be in for a longer stint. As it turned out, Pippo was the qualifying driver, which meant that Jack Aiken was given the lion's share of the work today. So this was very much a plan from Whelen Caddock all along.
So, Jeremy, now what do you do? They wouldn't have been if they started at the front, Shay. That's for sure. They wouldn't have stopped after that early if they'd been starting at the front.
10 minutes.
They only did that because they started at the back of the field. But point taken in any case. His point, Ian Watt's point is exactly right. For somebody in the field, they were only going to get a minimal time of driving for sure.
Do you drop that car into the pits now from 8th position? It can't drop any further. Stick a new set of Michelins if you've got them, and put Durrani back into it to try and charge up through the field, because there'll be the split for GTP. Maybe make up a couple of positions, maybe make up 3 positions. That could be important points-wise towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, they only had, 4 sets of tyres for the entirety of the race meeting, they won't have a fresh set for sure, and tyre degradation here has been pretty minimal, but that's one of the big question marks coming into the race, with all the other rubber having been laid down by the Indy cars over the course of the last 24 hours basically, because the first 2 sessions it was just IMSA cars on track. It was going to be interesting to see how that changes the fact that whether there would be any more tyre degradation once more rubber had been laid down.
Wow. Now this has been designated a short yellow. That is at the behest of race control. That means pits won't open. I don't think anybody would have taken that anyway, but this is going to massively affect how quickly we get back to green flag. The pass around has already started. The GTP class split has already started. So this is IMSA race control wanting to give us the absolute maximum green flag run to the checkers. And this is really interesting. Normally you only get a short yellow if you were within 15 minutes of the end of the race, and we weren't when we went yellow, or 15 minutes before. I know it's half an hour, isn't it?
It is. It's half an hour,
before the end of the race. Yes, sorry, my apologies. So they've absolutely followed the race. But I love this. This is great. We are going to we are going to have a proper dash for the points at the end of the race. And this is where we'll find who's got the performance left in their Michelin tyres. Jeremy, where's your money? Ricky Taylor, Mathieu Jaminet, Renger van der Zende, Felipe Nasr, Louis Delatraz, Jesse Krohn, Jimmy Bruni and Jack Aitken. Richard Westbrook back on the end of this as well, but I think he's off the lead lap if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Yeah, he's just got the wave round. He went past the other GTD cars, John, that's it. Still a lap down though.
Hello to Say Phil says, what an entertaining event, great length of race for this type of circuit. Great to see the top pro classes only. Some good overtakes to remember as the highlights here. Hello Phil, back in the UK. Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre has Jeremy Shaw and John Hindhaugh installed. And on the edge of our seats, the very edge of our seats, Shea Adam is our CrowdStrike pit lane reporter. We've got to decide who our BDO Knows Strategy Award winner is going to be in the next 15 minutes. Then we'll take the Michelin PRT, post-race tech, hashtag Michelin, hashtag Michelin PRT to at IMSA Radio, and we'll have a quick run through the points arising from this short dash. Remember, we're in a completely different environment next weekend, where Michelin Pilot Challenge is our headline event with a 4-hour race on the fabulous up and down but tight circuit, fast at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course as IMSA returns to Mid-Ohio, and has a great supporting cast as well, with the first round of the Mustang Challenge and the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup. Tandy is waving the green flag with some gusto. 14 minutes on the clock, and it's a great jump away by Ricky Taylor. But I tell you what, Mathieu Jaminet has got a good run as well, as they head through the twisty parts of the circuit and onto the long run down towards turn 3 on Franklin. Now, in the draft, Mathieu Jaminet lost the lead in that draft. Can he get it back here? I don't think he's close enough. They're hugging the left-hand wall. Taylor takes Ricky Taylor was confident enough to go back in racing line. Behind them, the battle for third and fourth is now being disputed, with Renger van der Zande and Felipe Nasr side by side going into 3. Jimmy Bruni says it's time to go, and he displaces the BMW in 6th place as Jesse Krohn moves back a position. Jimmy Bruni starting very nicely, thank you very much indeed, and Jack Aitken trying to follow him through. So things has followed him through. Aitken's got him a position as well. Jesse Krohn gets jumped by 2 cars at the start. 13 minutes to go, Jeremy, and that's only what's going on GTP.
Yeah, right. Tremendous stuff, isn't it? And it's again a really good restart there by Ricky Taylor. And he wants to hang on to this win, doesn't he? It'll mean so much to that Wayne Taylor Racing team. They've had a really disappointing and harrowing even beginning to the season. This is, we're now past halfway. This is the 5th race out of 9 in the championship. So now is the time to make your move in terms of championship points. I mean, no one's out of it at this stage at all. But this is what that number 10 team really needs, is a win. And Ricky Taylor is going to be a tall order to get past him, I feel.
Remarkably, there's only one official retirement at the moment, and that is Conor de Philippe, the BMW. Oh, Jimmy Bruni goes straight on, and that car has a problem. Bruni pulled out of line there and goes straight on into the runoff area. 12 minutes to go. We're going to have another full course caution if Jimmy can't get that Porsche 963, the black and gold car, the Mustang sampling car back up, and the full course caution is out because he got hit. Oh, my apologies. I thought that car had cut out. Jack Aitken absolutely nails him going into turn 3.
I
There's
think
no
it was,
move from
isn't
Bruni there.
it? No, it's 4.
Let's have a look. Oh, yes, it is 4. Coming out of 3 into 4. Yeah, you're absolutely spot on, Jeremy. Now, is Bruni moving back across?
Well,
The driver behind is the one that has the view to stop that happening. Turn 4 now. It's been said by race control.
Have we
That's
gone yellow?
correct.
We haven't gone yellow,
That's a
have
tough
No,
one
we're
for me.
still green.
Oh, I'm sorry. It came up on my timing screen as full course yellow, and that has been rescinded. Now it's back up as full course yellow again. Yeah. So 10 minutes, call it 11 minutes to go. And, well, pick the bones out of that one. Accomplished Ferrari's got turned around again. And this time it's Brian Sellers that turns that car around. Both Corvettes and a Lexus has gone through. That doesn't affect Lauren Heinrich at the front of the field. Still Ben Panicut in second. Still Pfaff Motorsports and Marvin Kirchhofer in third place. Riberas and the Harden Racing team. Alex Riberas in fourth. Parker Thompson in fifth for Vassar Sullivan. Jimmy Bruni is not happy with life. Not happy at all.
No, I mean, you know,
is this the consequence of street track, Jeremy? It's tight. Everything happens from turn into apex, and there's no room to run wide or to run over a curb, because there's not a curb on the inside. There's a wall. So if you stick your nose in, then surely you've got to be absolutely certain, because you can't modify your line.
yeah, that's right. I mean, you know, the number 5 car there, yeah, he was ahead, clearly ahead, almost a full car length, and for some reason number 31 car decided to stick his nose in there to make sure number 5 car couldn't take the racing line through the right-hander. Is that cricket? Well, not in my book. I mean, that's you know, it's asking for trouble. I guess he can argue that the number 5 car moved across to its left, but I mean that's the racing line into that corner, and even if Bruni, even if Bruni had stayed all the way to the right hand side and compromised his turn into turn 4, and therefore would have been much slower on the exit, he's going to do it in such a way there's no way you're going to get past on the following little straight. So I don't get it, quite frankly. I think that was unnecessary from Jack Aitken in kind of the 31. That was a kind of a desperate. Well, it wasn't a lunge by any means, but he didn't need to put his nose in there. All it was going to do was cause an accident.
We talked about this being a new track in our Porsche Keys to Racing Michelin Countdown to Green. And part of that is finding out where are and where there aren't legitimate passing opportunities. There are some parts of this track where I think, unless someone is massively slower and has a problem, that you really can't go by. You've just got to accept the fact that you've got to plan and scheme and be a bit more cunning and try and get out. For example, coming out of turn 7, there is a bit of a long straight to turn 8, and we highlighted that literally as well as metaphorically in our at the start of the show when we talked about the action areas. The left-hander at turn 8, if you do get a better exit from turn 7, it's quite a wide exit from turn 7, so try a different line, then maybe you can get fully alongside. Same thing down in turn 3, and we've seen some sensible passes at turn 3. We've seen a few not so much as well, to be fair. We're down to 7 minutes and 20 seconds. Lauren Heinrich in the 8 All Racing Porsche. My goodness me, are they going to get a second gold tooth on Rexy as we're getting ready to come back to green flag racing? At the front of the field, Ricky Taylor will have to hold off the Porsche 963, the car with the white stripes of Lauren Heinrich. He just pops out to the left and he's trying to work out where Taylor's going to go. He's right there. That's a really good restart by those cars. The green flag flies. Let's hope we get the run to the... Oh, and a lock up by the leader as he goes through. Now that might just compromise the run onto the long back straight at Franklin. Here comes the Porsche. I don't think he's close enough. I don't think Mathieu Jaminet has got the ponies to get near that Ricky Taylor Acura. Taylor sticking to the left-hand side now, sweeps across, and again, confident enough, Jeremy, that he doesn't have to defend. Coming into turn 3, same can't be said of Louis Delatraz, who's got a whole bunch of cars behind him, including Jack Aitken, who is, well, he's got sort of Damocles hanging over him at the moment.
He has, and the number 40 car just ahead of him, Louis Delatraz, he was getting defensive there down into turn 3. And he talked about the cars hugging the left-hand side of the way, all the way down the main straightaway. That's because it's smoother, significantly smoother than on the right-hand side, where it's really, really rough. There's proper Detroit street there, and so then you just for the braking area for turn 3, they kind of move across the left. Across the right, excuse me, for the left-handed turn there. Number 35 car redressing the balance there to get back ahead number 1. After
that's the Conquest Racing. Yes, the Conquest Ferrari. Hello to Nigel Crowley, says, is Rexy going to Le Mans? No, but Spike is. Spike is Rexy's big brother in some respects. That's an LMP2 car for AO Racing. And keep an eye out for that one at Le Mans. We'll be talking about that on RS1 and our Road to Le Mans features coming up in the next week. We are moving into the last 5 minutes. Bowzoot Racing says, were you watching the same thing as we were? No way that was Jack Aitken's fault. He was just driving his line and the car pulled across in front of him. Okay. Ultimately, the car has got to turn in, and you don't have to give room to somebody who isn't alongside you. Those are the rules of racing, Bowzoot, and I'll see. I'm quite happy to take your opinion on that, but let's see what happens with race control. Race control have called it a racing incident. It's not always somebody's fault. It's been reviewed and there's no action taken. And I can absolutely understand that. It doesn't always have to be somebody's fault, Joe.
I completely agree. I mean, all he was going to do was cause an accident, which he did, but by the same token, number 5 car, if he'd have moved across to the left earlier on, then there would have been an opportunity for the number 31 car to stick its nose in. So I think that's absolutely a fair comment, yeah, I can understand why there's no call on that one.
Yeah, it's not always somebody's fault. It doesn't always need a call. Sometimes a no call is the right call on that. And
the leaders
we always refer to race control because they know more than we do. At the front of the field, it's 3/4 of a second here. I think we're going to have to keep an eye on Renger van der Zande, because that gold-fronted Cadillac, all right, it's at second back at the moment, but that car is starting to look a little bit more ominous, and if these two front cars, Jeremy, start scrapping, Renger's going to be right there.
Yeah, fair comment. Yeah, indeed so. What's interesting to me is we look at the restart lap times after the restart, significantly quicker than, well, we'd only had 2 laps of green after the previous caution period, but after the earlier yellow, we got down to competitive times much quicker this time around. And Ricky Taylor has got the message he knows now. We're inside 2.5 minutes remaining in this race. When we went green, it was 6:45 to go, so he knew he had to get his head down there and turn to good laps, and that's exactly what he did. Oh no.
Oh no, the driveway.com faff. McLaren is in the tyres at turn 3, and we've got another incident under review with the 23 Alex Ribeira's car and the number 9 faff car of Marvin Kirchhofer. That suggests to me there's been contact to put that bright orange McLaren into the tyres.
Oh, yes.
That is so not Alex Ribeira's. That is so not Alex Ribeira's. Again, moving in the braking area. Unnecessary. 2 laps to go. We're staying green at the moment. The BDO No Strategy Award. Shea Adam, where's your vote going to between the 2 classes?
It's going to the head of the field overall because Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti, they have done everything they needed to get to the front of this, and if it stays as it is with 2 laps to go, this will be our 5th different race winner in 5 races for the GTP category. They got there today on amazing driving and good strategy.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not going to disagree with that. Although I'll put in Porsche Penske Motorsport. They've battled back from a penalty to lead the race twice, leaving Tandy out for as long as they could. I quite like that. I quite like what AO Racing did. They took their chances. That could be a win for them. Jeremy Shaw, it could be either of the classes. The BDO Nose Strategy Award. What do you reckon as we head on to the white flag lap?
Quite frankly, anybody that's tried to do something interesting in terms of strategy, it's backfired for one reason or another. Nobody really has done anything significant in terms of winning the motor race or running up front in the race or gaining positions over anybody else. So, I don't know. In terms of strategy, I don't know. I have no vote, quite frankly.
Right. Okay. Okay. Then it's between Shea and me. We'll work that one out. Into the pits for the Conquest Ferrari right at the end. Albert Costa Balboa. But coming to the checkered flag, it's a win on the streets of Detroit for Acura, and the All-American team in America's Motor City wins with a non-American brand. And Philippe Albuquerque is delighted to see Ricky Taylor come across the line for the Acura with Wayne Taylor Racing and Andretti. Jaminet comes through second after the incident earlier on for Nick Tandy, his teammate. And no further action. Riberos versus the FAF car. And our BDO No Strategy Award goes to the winning car. Quite unusually, Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti. They have got their way there with good driving and good strategy. Wayne Taylor knows how to win motor races, and he wins on the streets of Detroit. In GTD Pro, AO Racing took their chances rather well as well, didn't they? Lauren Heinrich taking over from Sebastian Prix and getting ahead of the rest of the field. Vassar Sullivan, will they count themselves lucky to have that number 14, the full season car, right there at the end of the race with damage and with contact? And harder racing, Aston Martin, well, Alex Riberos and the rest of the team, they have fought their way up into 3rd position in GTD Pro. It's Acura, Porsche, Cadillac at the front of the field on the streets of Detroit. Shea Adam and Jeremy Shaw are doing their arithmetic at the moment. Well, a lot of contact, which in some ways might be expected. Street circuits tend to promote that. Short races on street circuits tend to promote that. Untidy, possibly. Entertaining, well, you be the judge of that. But the checkered flag is out, and it's Wayne Taylor Racing, Ricky Taylor and Philippe Albuquerque who will be standing on the top step of the podium. Jeremy Shaw and Shea. Jeremy, I'll come to you first. Let's have some points for you before we go to Michelin post-race tech.
Points or points of arising after the race?
Points first, actual points.
Actual points, yeah. Okay, overall points then. The number 7 car will extend its lead in GTP. Number 7 car, which is where did they finish today? They finished in the 4th position today. That's their first time off the podium, but will extend their lead. They'll have 1,669 points unofficially. Into second place will be the number 01 car on 1,599. They'll be 13 points ahead of the second place finisher and pole sitting Porsche number 6. And then the car that was in second place, number 31 Wheeling Cadillac, will fall to 4th position on 1578, so just 8 behind the second of the Porsches. in the Manufacturer Championship, with the win today for Acura, and then second position for Porsche. That will move the Porsche into the lead unofficially on 1795 to 1782 for Cadillac and 1726 for Acura.
Shea Adam has the GTD points.
With their second consecutive win, AO Racing now takes a substantial lead in the championship of nearly 100 points, 1359 ahead of the 14 Vassar Sullivan Lexus, coming home second with 1275. Having the sister car in play did prove to be an added buffer for them as far as the championship is concerned. But now third in the points is Ross Gunn by himself, with Alex Riberas missing the race at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, 1192, and dropping yet another position is the number one Paul Miller Racing BMW, 1168. It was a good day despite everything for the number 4 Corvette, who moved ahead of the sister car into the 5th position in the championship, with the 3 dropping back into 6th, and then in 7th is now Pfaff with their McLaren.
We move next to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, where the Michelin Pilot Challenge will be the headline news, and that's a 4-hour race with Whelen MX-5, with the first round of the Mustang Challenge as well, and we'll have some Porsche Carrera Cup North America as well, although they're up in Canada. That's all next weekend, along with Le Mans Test Day on Sunday. Stay tuned to RS2 for Michelin Post Race Tech, hashtag Michelin PRT. I feel we're going to have a fairly spirited discussion. Hashtag Michelin PRT. When is an overtake not an overtake? Which driver has the responsibility when they are trying to make an overtake? We'd like your views on that. Hashtag Michelin PRT. Thank you very much to our hard-working crew, both in London, where Tim Gray, Rob and Curry have been working really hard this weekend on a multiple series weekend for the RSL program network, and also, of course, our colleagues at NASCAR Productions up in North Carolina. Christine, thank you. Alex, thank you. And the rest of the team as well. Let's leave you in the capable hands of the post-race tech. We'll be back on RS2 in just a moment.